Alright, well, that's a lot of white noise, and I can hear my voice, which is distracting to say the least. Anyway, this is a drawing log. It's something I'm going to be doing from now on, where I just draw whatever I'm drawing and then I talk over it afterwards. Yeah. I guess the reason I'm doing it is because uh, I just kind of feel like it. But it's also because I think there's a lot of like good art videos you can find, and there's not a lot of right in the middle. I'm kind of an amateur at all of this guy, so I'm gonna be that guy. I am your reliable middle of the line, probably a bit under the line, maybe like below average artist. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be there to show my whole process, and hopefully later on, I'm gonna look back and be like, yeah, I did it. Look at where I came from, and now look at where I am. I don't know. Or I'll look back and be like, wow, I fell off. Hopefully that won't happen. But anyway, so what are we drawing today? So today we are drawing a character that I have. He's a little skeleton guy. His name, I call him Revnus. He's sort of like a Grim Reaper-esque character. And there's not really much else you know about that thing. It's really distracting with my voice coming in here. For a second, I'm just going to put the echo on so you can understand what's happening on my end. It's really annoying. But anyway. So I didn't talk about anything I was doing here, but basically I'm drawing character sheets. I already drew the first character position for him, which was the one on the left, and then I was just going off of that afterwards. So basically, this is a little line of things I've been doing. I had 10 characters, all my original characters that I'm making sheets for them, which hopefully I can show to someone later, and they can be like, wow, we're going to hire you because of this. I'm like, dude, sweet. But yeah, so the first pose I had was him front facing, and the second one was back facing, just so you get a full idea of what the character looks like. And then the ones I'm drawing right now are face profiles, side profile, face fronting, front facing, not face fronting, and like a 3/4. What was weird about him is that I wanted to do, like, obviously as a skull, sort of like deer skull kind of thing, but not really. It's kind of an ambiguous looking thing. I feel like my art tends to be a bit more symbol, so I wasn't really too worried about it not being a specific kind of soul shape or anything like that. But the tough thing about this was I wanted this row of teeth on the bottom, and trying to work that in so that it wasn't visible from the front, but it was visible from the sides, and how that would actually look like mechanically, like how does it connect to the rest of his face. That was kind of hard. But then this pose, this is the last one I do, so I do the front facing pose, the back facing, all the faces, and then I do a dynamic pose so that you can actually show the character in motion and see what they're all about. Really, it's a nice way of trying to express what the character is outside of just their pose. It adds another layer of personality onto them. So yeah, this pose I wanted to have him like sort of lurching forward as if he was like emerging from somewhere, or he was chasing you down like a dark hallway, something like that. So he has a scythe up and everything like that. So this pose, I thought, it turned out pretty well in the end. Not to spoil it, I think, but it was certainly a bit troubling. But we'll get to that in a second. Obviously, I took my sweet time getting all the lines in. I think I had to go and go make the red skeleton and go make the red skeleton, you idiot. You can't draw without the red skeleton. The first pose I had him doing was kind of freaky. He was kind of sticking it out for everybody behind him. He was really putting his butt out there, which is not what he was supposed to be doing. But he stopped doing that later. Yeah. Anyway, back to the drawing. Maybe not back to the drawing. I'm kind of boring myself out here. How's your day going? So the entire runtime of this drawing was 2 hours and 40 minutes of all the drawings that I've done, not just that one. And I started doing this at 1:30, and now it's 10 o'clock. So if you want to learn a little thing about work ethic, don't come to me because I don't know shit about it. Um, but still got it done. So anyway, so yeah, no, so I started working on the back pose, and that's where I started running into some problems. Mainly, I was worried about how much space his whole body was taking up, and if you looked at it a full image, would it be balanced? It's a little hard to tell when on the character sheet because there's not like defining boundaries of where like the image would end or anything like that. Um, but anyway, I still was worrying about the weight, and then I messed with this back foot for a while, trying to find out the right angle to get in the right spot. And every time I drew it, I was like, something's a bit off. So I redrew this foot about 30 different times. And eventually I got it done. But we'll get there in a second. So anyway, a bit more about why I'm recording this is hopefully, like I said, I get to look back at it one day and show that, like, hey, this is how much progressed. But also it's for anyone who kind of thinks that, like, oh, I could never do it. As someone who's closer to that boat than I think most people making sort of like videos and stuff about this kind of thing, most people who are like, oh, you can do it, you just have to try, have already made it. Like, they're making fantastic work. And so getting this now, oh, by the way, he's not going to be Frankenstein colored. You'll see it later. I was just doing that so I could see the off-white, because off-white was hard to see, and then I would change it later. But yeah, basically, if you don't think you can make it, hopefully I can be living proof that you can, you know? So this is me in the process of hopefully becoming good at this kind of thing. I don't know if I will. I hope I do. But if you're in that boat right now, hopefully we can be in that boat together. And if you're looking at my work and you're like, man, I wish I could draw like that, what are you talking about, dude? Your art is fantastic. One, I appreciate it. That's very nice of you. But also, I'll show some crap work I have from like 5 years ago. And then you can see that, hey, I can get past that crap and I can get to the new crap that he's doing now. So I'll show that in a second. I'll just go pull up an art piece. Maybe I do it right now. Well, I want to talk about what I'm coloring a bit. I'll show you in a second. Just wait a little bit. So, the drawing that I'm doing right now, the coloring, I don't mind my drawing skills that much. It's the color that really gets in the way, I think. Like, if I could work in black and white only, that would be kind of sick. But you should challenge yourself to push past that. And also, color is just a really helpful tool. I mean, you know how much you're losing without using color? You're losing a lot. You know, people don't always do it in color, like if you're in like reading a manga, because color takes time, but you lose a lot of visual language without using color. So if you're afraid of color, so am I, and I'm not very good at it. I mean, I think you can tell. I don't think my colors are terrible. Like I found a pretty solid thing for this character at the end. I was like, oh, that looks pretty good, but it took me a while. And they're just flats too. Like this one coloring session were all flats and it took me like an hour. I also think that might be because I do not know efficient way to color in Photoshop. So if anyone knows how to color efficiently in Photoshop, I would love to hear it. But yeah, so I was playing with like this purple and like the red, and purple and red are not like a particularly like contrasty or what's the other word, complementary scheme, right? So then I tried to mess with this blue a bit. I go from like an icy death kind of thing. But mainly what I was going for is like I wanted his face to be the sort of like consuming vortex that you just like that you mainly look at. So I wanted that to be the most interesting part, and have the rest of it be kind of like more dull. And the pose he's hitting, where he's like standing there like a little awkwardly with his scythe off to the side, to me was supposed to be like, I'm not gonna kill you, I swear. And I feel like the eye could add to that because it's like, well, you just are so only looking at the eye. Like, oh, don't look at the scythe, just look in my eye, dude. I won't kill you. And that was sort of the idea that I wanted to land on. And I think at the end, you know what? I think it turned out pretty good. There he is. He's all finished, and so am I. So yeah, here's the shitty art showcase for today. Oh, look at it. It's just terrible. It's oh, bleh. I have no idea what's showing there, obviously. But yeah, this thing is bad. This should be burned in a town and hung and have tomatoes thrown at it. And I'm sure whatever you're drawing, if you're drawing right now, I'm sure it looks fantastic. But yeah, so I'll see you around. Bye.